All right, this is Ubaid on behalf of V Electronics, and in this video, we'll be talking about unsafe consumer products arguments. Now, in terms of economics, okay, this argument has to do with unsafe consumer products, and you've got two sides of the coin. Okay, so one side of the coin says, okay, that uh, your World Trade Organization, okay, should ease down when it comes to okay, declaring certain products unsafe. Okay, and on the other side of the coin, you have the World Trade Organization, which says we let the countries decide on their own whether or not the products are unsafe. All right, which means the countries should be able to decide based on their own standards whether these products are safe or not. And these standards should be based on things like science, okay, and research on health. All right, so again, okay, you have your unsafe consumer products arguments. And just like with any argument, debate, or discussion, there are two sides of the story. Okay, one side has to do with okay the consumer rights group, and this consumer rights group basically says that okay countries need to ease their standards, countries need to lower their standards when it comes to unsafe products. Okay, countries need to lower down their standards, need to lower their standards, lower their standards. Okay, when it comes to imported products. And the reason for this perspective is to okay, make sure international trade happens. Okay, make sure you have import and export between two countries, and make sure there is no trade deficit just because of standards that restrict certain kinds of imports. All right, and things or products that have standards, okay, when it comes to unsafe products. We're talking about food, pharmaceuticals, cars, vehicles, consumer electronics, all kinds of products, toys. Okay, so if you have an unsafe product, okay, every country, most of the countries around the world, they have certain standards which stop these imports from getting into the country so that they don't impact the health of the citizens and the residents of the country. Okay, as a result of which, the other side of the coin, the other side of the story has to do with the World Trade Organization. We've talked about World Trade Organization back in the past. It's made up of 150 nations. So you have World Trade Organization, and the World Trade Organization basically says that every country can decide their own standards. Okay, every country, each country decides their own standards. And as long as these countries don't discriminate, they do not restrict importers, okay, and set a different standard for exporters, okay, it should be fine. So each country has their own standards, has their own standards, has their own standard. And this standard should be based on science rather than discrimination. Okay, should be based on science rather than discrimination. Because if you think about it, technically speaking, this is sort of like a protectionist policy. Okay, just like your tariffs and taxes. Okay, if the country goes ahead and sets restrictions just on imports based on safety, then it becomes more of a protectionist policy. Okay, so rather than discrimination. So these regulations must be based on science. So regulations. All right, so that would be it when it comes to your unsafe consumer products argument. This is Obey on behalf of V Electronics. Have yourself a great day.